Which tablet do you want? You can't have that one. Hey, everybody. We are live, and I am very excited because I have a guest waiting in the green room, the virtual green room. And he is somebody that I have talked to. If you've been in the lives, you have seen him in the chat, but you have not met him yet. He has the most fascinating channel. And when we met and I saw his channel, I knew that he had to come and you guys had to see him and you have to see it too. So we're going to be putting the links in here so you guys can go check it out and go subscribe. You are going to love it. His name is John Davidson from Davidson's All Natural Gym. Not the kind of gym you're thinking. Hey, John, thanks so much for
Hey,
joining me today.
thanks for having me. I'm
So I
enjoying
thought
it.
we'd start with, how did you come up with the name for your channel?
I don't know. Everybody was always like, I'm gonna go to the gym and get a workout. You want to go? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to the gym to get a workout. And they're like, well, you want to do this? And I'm like, no, I'm not paying a membership for a gym. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not gonna sit in a air conditioned room and lift weights. And I said, why? So why don't you just come over to my house? And they're like, well, and we can work out and do whatever. And they're like, well, you don't have a sauna. And I'm like, well, yeah, in the summer it gets just like a sauna out there. And they're like, well, you don't have a tanning beds. And I'm like, yeah, we have a solar powered tanning bed. You can come over anytime. It's fully solar powered. And, and you can lift weights. Well, you don't have a swimming pool. Yeah, we got a creek that runs right through the property. You can go swimming in it anytime you want. You know, it, that's how it started, I suppose.
I love it. See, and I grew up as somewhere like that. Like we had property, which is weird. It was between LA and Orange County and in these hills. And there is some property like that. We had a tiny bit of property though, and lots of it packed on there. You've got lots of land, but there's nothing like going creek stomping. And they do that in Tennessee. They call it creek stomping, where you go through and find all the crawdads and all the things.
Yep.
And I honestly think it's so much better, especially for kids, to have
Yeah.
experiences like that. I think we miss out
Yep.
a lot.
Yep. Wade in the creek, and there's no swimming toys. There's no anything like that. You got sticks and clamshells and rocks, and I think that's a lot more fun than a swimming pool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have a pool, but it's not. Yeah, it's not like that. It takes me back, because growing up, and then on the weekends, my dad and I would go down there and find all the animals and all that stuff, and it was just really cool. So if you are watching, I would love to hear where you are, and you guys get to do all natural thing like Davidson's All Natural Gym. Oh my goodness! And so if you can see the picture behind him, that is very similar to what his channel looks like. It is
Oh, yeah.
beautiful. So we've talked about your editing. You've got someone that does your editing, and I'm going to put a link so that no, I'm
No, I
going to put a
don't.
link.
I wish I had somebody who did my editing.
No, okay. See, I wish I did too. We're working on
Man,
that someday soon. Okay,
I
there's a link to the channel, so you can go check it out. And like I said, before we were doing a lot of interviews of judges and legislators, and we're still doing that, but we're trying to bring some other people, because everybody has a story, and I find it fascinating to hear everybody's stories. So tell me about you. Is this a family farm, or well, is it a farm? I don't know. Do you call it? I don't know.
Is it a farm? Yeah, it's a farm. It's a row crop farm, so it's corn and soybeans. One year it'll be field corn. Next year it'll be soybeans. It's 120 acres. It's the family farm. Uh, my dad, my dad's dad, bought it. And then he died, and his mom paid for it. But anyway, 120 acres. There's woods. There's a creek. There's a lot of hunting, a lot of fishing, and it's in the middle of nowhere, which is really nice. The neighbor to the east is half a mile away, and the neighbor to the west is a half mile away. That's the closest neighbors you have. It's half a mile, so it's really nice.
It
You
is wonderful, actually. I
yeah.
love that. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the only problem, I suppose, is it is out in the middle of nowhere, and the wind in northern Indiana and northern Illinois gets pretty rough.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had a wedding there recently, didn't you? Was that a family wedding or did somebody else pay you to come and do
That
that?
was no, I don't have anybody pay me to come and do that. I don't know that I want to put it out there to let people come and you know what I mean? Me put on a
Yeah.
wedding. That was a family thing. That was my daughter. Let's see, my sister was married here, I don't know, 10 years ago. My daughter was married here 5 years ago, and then my second daughter was married here just a couple weeks ago,
Emily and
a week
Steve.
ago.
Hey, everybody. All right. Oh, we got some new people. Oh, we got an AC raid. All right. How did you come up? Oh, how did you come up with the name Dang? Because like your little at thing.
my my son-in-law, he said, "Do you realize that your Davidson's All Natural Gym says Dang, DANG for Davidson's All Natural Gym?" And so I tried to. I got on. Actually, if you go to my channel and you go to the homepage, it's pretty funny. But um, I tried to get Dang, and it was already taken. So I tried to get Dang with a dash, and it was taken. So I just added 2 dashes, and
I
then
love it.
you YouTube wouldn't let me save it. It wouldn't let me save that handle. And I couldn't figure out why. I spent probably, because I'm not very computer savvy, so I spent probably 20 minutes figuring out why I couldn't save that handle, and it was because I hadn't picked a pronoun yet. So you have to pick a
Oh,
pronoun now. When you have a handle, you have to have a he, she, it,
really?
we, they. Yep. And so I just picked it, and so now it's now my right on my homepage. It says dang dash dat it, so it's dang it. So I was like, well, that works. Dang it.
That is so interesting. Oh my gosh. But that's, yeah, Davidson's All Natural Gym. That I didn't even put that together. All right. For those of you who just came, we just got rated. That is so cool. Welcome. This is John Davidson, and you've been seeing him in the chat recently. He has Davidson's All Natural Gym, and it is not a kind of a gym like you would expect. And there's a link up a little bit up in the chat that you can check it out. It is awesome. Nan, hey, glad you got to say hi. It's been a long time. And Steve Bennett's here, and Jay's here, and AC and Emily. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're also streaming on John's channel. It is beautiful. I find it absolutely beautiful. If you like nature, if you like the country, if you want to see how other people live, Jay, because you get stuck like in the city and doing whatever, and we forget that there are still people out there working with their hands. And if they were not, we would be completely lost, absolutely lost. And also, there is something about being in nature, and I miss it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, my dad he made all of our furniture. He did all that stuff. He built a 6 stall
Yep.
barn for my mom and all the pens and all the stuff. And when I look at your channel, I'm like, oh, I remember all of that. And there's a beauty to that. I feel like our culture is losing rapidly. Um, and
Absolutely.
also, I want to ask you a controversial question. And I try to be Switzerland on this channel. I do, but I'm going to ask it. What do you think about a certain person buying up almost half of America's farmland?
um, well, I think it's scary, actually. You know what I mean?
I think
That
it's terrifying.
anybody could,
Yeah.
yeah, that that anybody, no matter what their beliefs are or what their background are, that anybody could own that much is scary. But the other thing was around here, there's a lot of farmland, and it's uh, high production farmland. It's really, really good farmland, and the solar power is renting it out to put solar panels on it. And all the farmers are upset because they're taking away. You know what I mean? That makes food prices go up. They can't produce as much crop because there's solar on it. But the rent that they're paying to the landowner, the farmer can't compete. So it's a double edged sword. You know what I mean? I'm glad
Yeah.
somebody's buying the farmland because we need to keep the farmland prices up. I just wish it wasn't all the same person, no matter what his beliefs are.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
You
even
know?
beliefs, I feel like, I don't know, it's a little bit scary to me. like what could happen. I don't
Right.
know. American food is weird anyway, and I don't know. So my daughter lives in Germany, and we went to the military base there, um, and there are signs, because they have our fast food, like Taco Bell or whatever, and outside of the Taco Bell, there is a paper printed, stick it on the wall, and they say, "Warning, American food. Eat at your own risk," or whatever, because in Germany, they're not allowed to have the garbage that we put in our food, right? So
Right.
I don't know, it makes me a little bit nervous about what we're doing, but,
Well, yeah. That
that's just
fast
me.
food should always make you nervous. If fast food doesn't make you nervous, then something's wrong. It's
Right.
it is. I mean, just try to go out and buy a farm raised chicken. And if you've ever had one that's ever been raised right on the farm, it's one of the only meats that doesn't taste anything like chicken. A farm raised chicken does not taste like chicken at all. You would swear it's
Well,
something else.
yeah, and, the house I grew up on, we had all the trees, lemons and oranges and plums and peach, like,
Um,
everything, and my mom had a garden every year, and then I grew up and went out to the grocery store to buy food, and I could not believe how different it tasted. Y'all, it does not taste the same as when you
no.
raise it yourself, because it's sat for months on trucks or in a storage place or whatever. They pick it too early, and then they treat it with stuff, yeah, it is a real treat to be able to have things right off the land. So, yeah, we're
Yeah.
talking about getting chickens here. We're allowed to have some things. I would really like a little goat, but it would eat everything. It is a man's heaven, Dave. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine if you had 120 acres and you could go hunt and fish and everything right on your property. So John was saying that this is family, it's a family farm. It's been there for a few generations. And oh yeah, you want to tell them about the tools? I thought that would be something everyone would be fascinated by hearing. What kind of tools you have there?
No, I think more industrial size saws and other huge power tools. The sawmill. I have the sawmill, and that's you gotta love that work, or
He
else
has
you can't
big
do
tools, you guys. You got to
it.
check it out.
Yeah, the sawmill is a hydraulic Woodmiser LT35 hydraulic sawmill, and that's that's an amazing tool. You can sell a lot of lumber off that. You can what what happens around here in the farm areas. It's usually not somebody looking for a high dollar piece of walnut, although I do have high dollar piece of walnut, but it's usually a farmer with a tree who wants to now build a fence, and he just wants me to saw him up some boards. You know what I mean? Which is still a moneymaker with the sawmill. Um, but yeah, that's a real great addition to any farm. Sawmill, portable
Yeah, we
sawmill.
we have a friend in Tennessee, and they have a tree business, so they go cut down trees, but then they haul them away for you, and then they turn them into sawdust, and then they sell the sawdust, and it's really, and also I saw in the description of your channel, I love it. You talk about man's glitter because sawdust is men's glitter, and I thought
Yep.
that is so perfect. I love it so much.
Yeah, I used to the. I think I probably got in trouble on YouTube for that one a little bit, but I used to. I'm real sarcastic, so I used to sell sawdust in a jar as man glitter, and put screw the cap on it in a mason jar and sell it for 19.95. And I always
People buy it?
said, nah, no. But I always said, if you're thinking about getting a sawmill, I said you just sit down in front of this and watch my channel. And then whenever you're watching my channel, you take a little bit of the sawdust and you throw it up in front of the fan. And you let the fan blow the sawdust all over your living room, and it'll drive the women crazy. It'll drive your wife crazy, right? Because you got sawdust all over the living room.
That's funny. Yeah, because it's like girls glitter. It gets into everything, doesn't it? Oh my goodness.
Yep.
But,
Yeah, it's
I don't
everywhere. The wife
but it
is not
smells
really
so
happy.
amazing.
Some of it does. Some of it
Yeah.
smells amazingly bad. You
Oh,
would be
really?
surprised. You would be surprised. You get a red oak or a willow or cottonwood. There's some species that smell like your cat litter box hasn't been changed in a few days. It's pretty bad.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no. But
that is
there's the pine that smells real good. The white oak smells real good. The walnut smells good. Cedar, the cedar. You
yeah,
smelled cedar. Yeah, that smells really good.
that is awesome. Oh my gosh. So what does a day look like for you? I'd imagine I'm not a morning person. I'd imagine you are a morning person.
Yep.
Your day
Yeah,
probably starts when mine's ending. I would guess.
yeah, that's a morning person is a must. If you're not up by 6, then you're in trouble. Um, the chicken's got to be out by, sun up. And, well, right now I don't have any cows, but the cows got to be fed and the cows got to be watered. I'm in the process of redoing my whole pasture fence. Um, 5 acres of pasture, and I got to put a new fence all around it. So there's no cows right now, but everything's got to be fed. And if you're not up early in the morning, they're not happy with you.
Yeah.
And then it's usually right straight to the sawmill shed. That's where I want to be. That's where I enjoy being. Um, and there's usually, if there's not an order, then I'm just sawing up something to stack up for inventory for later on. But there's always an order. There's always something that you can get done. Um, Took a lot of time making those hedge fence posts for the pasture, and it takes a lot of time. And then sometime in there, you've got to record a YouTube video, and sometime in there, you've got to edit a YouTube video. So, by 10 o'clock at night, you're usually sitting at the computer. By dark, you're usually sitting at the computer trying to get a couple hours in editing a video. And that's not
So
very
what
much
made you
fun.
decide to do that? I feel like that's not something that a lot of people that do what you do have.
Um, YouTube's been a fun journey. Uh, it started. I think I started it because, well, there's a couple reasons. I think I started it because I loved those big video cameras that you had to put on your shoulder with the VHS
Yeah.
tape. Yeah, you got to know. I loved those, and I loved videotaping, and I loved photography. Always since I was a kid, I was videotaping, photography, everything, and I liked that. And I enjoyed sawmilling, and but what really started YouTube was a pretty embarrassing story, actually. my daughter, my daughter said I was putting a belt on one of my lawnmowers, putting the serpentine belt on the lawnmower deck. My daughter and I said I can't get this back on. I said I'm gonna have to go to John Deere or something, get the schematics on this, drive over there. And she said, Dad, just YouTube it. And I was like, what do you mean YouTube it? I'd never heard of YouTube 10, 15 years ago. I think it was like 13 years ago I started. And she said, oh, you just, you know, post a video on YouTube. She said, and everybody's, doing something and they'll help you and they'll answer any question you have, or whatever. And I was like, okay. So I recorded a video and put it up on YouTube and said, how do I put this belt on? And she came back and she said, Dad, did you find out how to do it? And I was like, no, nobody's answered my video yet. I said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I posted a video, said, how do you do this? But nobody answered it. She said, no, Dad. She said, take that video down quick. She said, that's embarrassing. You go up and you search, and somebody else has posted a video about how to do it. I was like, oh, okay, well. So I took that one down real quick. But that's how I actually started. But it's all a love of filming and a love of photography. And um, you have to enjoy it because it's not your get rich quick scheme. There's no, the algorithm does not, favor anybody over anybody else. So you've got to
Yeah.
put out some high quality videos or you're not going to make it on YouTube.
Yeah. That is, I love that story though. That is incredible. That is so cool. Yeah. I got my first microphone because from my son because he was going to start a podcast. I didn't know what podcasting was, and then he didn't start it, and I ended up starting one. So I used his thing. I think they still think it's really bizarre that it's something that I
so
do.
so the only difference between podcasting and live stream is that is what?
So okay, if you're a podcasting purist, which I would like to think, yeah, podcasting is audio only. So it's like the radio. So, you can go into a podcast player or whatever, and you can pull up, you can search a topic like you do at YouTube,
Right.
and you can listen to
Right.
anything, but it's only audio. Now,
Okay.
YouTube wants podcasts to come to YouTube, and so people are saying they have a video podcast, but really,
Right.
to me, a video podcast is just another YouTube channel, right? I mean, it's kind of the same thing. So on my channel, I do call a couple of things podcasts because why not? And as far as podcasts go, they do really well because in the podcast world, if you get 200 listens of a new episode a month, that's what the average person gets. Well, on YouTube, they're getting many more than 200, so it
Right.
looks great as a podcaster, but other YouTubers like, oh, that's all you get. It's really interesting. The whole dynamic is really it's a lot different, but a lot of the steps are the same. You record something, you edit it, you share it, you have to look at, SEO and all that kind of thing and.
Right. So I thought podcasting to me would be like even if it's a video or audio, a video, and you're just talking and there's no interaction. You know what I mean? I would consider that a video podcast where you're just like, this is how you do this, or this is what we're talking
Yeah,
about
and I
today.
guess, that's more it too. But a lot of times I'll interview people on my podcast, so it can be, more than one person talking. But usually, and some people do it live, like I think, Joe Rogan goes live or whatever. But yeah, it's not the back and forth or like a live stream like this where we have like people in the chat,
viewers.
right?
Right.
And so we don't have that. And that's been the glory of YouTube is being able to interact with people and knowing, like Jay, I know Emily, I know American Courts, I know, the people that are here. It I don't know, it feels more like a family or like a group of friends. And podcasting, I've been doing it, it's been almost 8 years. You can beg them to message you, except that, see, here, while we're live, everyone's right here. But,
Right. Yeah,
but there's
that's
nothing
what I
right
like about the live. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Is everybody in the chat. That's, to me, that's what is the fun part about it versus podcasting.
Yeah, and so I've been here a lot more than I've been doing the podcasting, I'm not gonna lie. So, now I'm only putting one episode every other week out over there because this is just nice,
You don't put those out here also
Oh, I love you
as
too.
podcasts on YouTube?
So, a lot of times the interviews I do for my channel now, I'll turn into a podcast episode. If it makes sense, because my podcast is Fabulous Over 50, so it's for women over
Right.
50. So a lot of the things that I do here don't really make sense for them, but if it does, if I can find somebody that ties in for both, then I'll do both. There's some people that I interview that are under 50 that just have a fascinating story. Like I helped a 13-year-old girl get her book to become a bestseller on Amazon, which was so much fun because I've learned the secret, and it won't be working for long, I'm sure. But and so I had her on because I felt like that was really inspirational for everybody because, she's 13. So yes, Jay, it is definitely more personal, for sure. Oh, and Dave found a thing and I needed to ask. Oh, and Dave asked what state you live in, or do you want to tell? Dave, his address is actually at the top of the description because he has people come out there and they have to do things. And also his is a lot safer than mine because he has industrial strength tools. And he doesn't have the kind of, people that come visit my channel, I think. So it's a little bit different.
That's true.
But
I'm in northern Illinois, actually. I'm right on the Indiana-Illinois border, 2 hours south. I always say 2 hours south of Chicago, but with traffic, it's 2 hours. If you didn't have traffic, it'd be about an hour and a half.
Okay. And my husband and I were both born in Chicago.
Both born in Chicago?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, all my family's around there. What's that?
Nice. And you got out to Florida. That's even better.
Got out. Yeah, my parents took me to LA when I was no, not Danville. He's northern. Danville is
Watsika. Kankakee, Illinois. You heard of Kankakee if you were in Chicago, right? No.
But
no.
I was one when we left, so my family's still there. But I haven't been back. Gosh, in like 20, well, no, that's not true. Dave's family's from Danville, and so we've been there,
I know.
unfortunately, for several funerals, but, even that was a long time. What was 6, I don't know what, you were 6 months, oh, you were 6 months when you left, okay. So he was talking about changing the subject, this because before I forget,
Go ahead.
he found somebody, they take, okay, Dave, they take sawdust, right? And they mix it up with like a wood glue, like a biodegradable wood glue, and they make pots out of it. And then they plant things in there and they put that in the ground in the pot. And then the pot melts away and you have your plant. I don't
Yes.
know.
I
I guess it's something that people make. I don't know
yes.
if you've ever done
I
that.
think it's a good idea. I think it's a. But how much are you going to sell that pot for? That's your problem.
And how much time are you
So
going to take to make each one of them, right?
right. Does it take you? I mean, even if it takes you what, a half hour to make one, which would probably maybe not take you a half hour, but is that we're selling for $10? You know what I mean? And now you've only
Yeah.
spent your time, and now you still got to buy the glue. So that's got to be a consideration too, and that's kind of what the lumber business is right now too. I can't make a 2x4 for what Lowe's can or the big box store can.
Yeah.
Oh, there's rusted
All right.
old iron. There you go.
It is cool. It is cool. That, but I thought I'd ask him about it if he, had heard of those things because, we don't have sawdust laying around, and I'm guessing you've got it, by the bucketful over there. So what do
Yep.
you do with it when you have a lot of it?
What I do with it is I compost it and I turn it into dirt. So by itself, um, taking a pickup load of sawdust and dumping on your garden is not a good idea.
Yeah.
It's all um, it's all potash. It's all potassium, and that's horrible for your garden by itself. But if you can mix it with your nitrogen, like your chicken poop or your grass clippings, and put all that in there, then the next year it'll be great for your garden. But rusted old iron, that guy who just commented, he was telling me to do that with the pots too.
Oh, really?
Yep, put glue in them and um, make a pot, and then we were going to sell whatever white oak trees in them or something like that, from around the farm.
Yeah. So, well, I guess that's where you would make the money, right? Is if you had to be with the plants that would be inside of it.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. You'd have to sell something else, I think, but I don't know. It's weird. Trying to make a money with the sawmill is is rough because everybody says, "Oh, why don't you make that live edge, river table with the epoxy in it and and all that?" And I'm like, that's like almost a whole nother profession.
yeah,
I'm just a
absolutely.
sawyer. I just saw the lumber. Somebody else has got to build that fine furniture. That's not me. But I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Dave wanted one of
Oh,
those.
do it yourself glue.
We're both, it's funny, I'm trying to put something up and he's trying to put it up, so we're getting it, okay. He wanted that table so bad, the the living
Yep.
edge thing, and then we
Yep.
were gonna try to make one, and that is no joke. That is a definite skill,
Yes.
and you have to go through a lot of stuff to learn how to do it and do it right. So, yeah, I can see why. So,
Yeah.
it'd be fun.
And I mean, you buy one of those slabs, from me, you buy a $700 walnut slab, and then you try to pour whatever, another $700 worth of resin into it, and you mess that up, and you're just out $1,400. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
just gone that easy. And
yeah.
so when somebody says that river table is worth $5,000, well, yeah, that's because he had to, you know what I mean, spend so much money on making one in time.
Yeah, well, and the time, and I think that's what, people forget, especially for hand thing, when it's something that's a skill that you really have to learn, and they think, "Well, you could have bought that for $10." Well, yeah, maybe you could have bought it for $10, but it took years for me to learn how to do this
Dang.
thing, right? And the time,
Right.
so,
Yep.
yeah.
The the other thing is, people say, they want me to sell them a chicken, a farm raised chicken. And I said, yeah, sure. $40. And they're like, $40? You can buy one at Walmart already cooked for $7. Why would I pay you $40? And I said, because you can't buy one of these at Walmart for $7. Walmart doesn't have these chickens. And number two, I can take it to the auction and sell it live and not do anything for $25 to $30. So why would I sell it to you for $7? You know what I mean? People just don't understand that. It's
Yeah.
it's a different world, it really is.
Well, and the quality. I think
Yeah,
we've lost as a culture, we've lost the idea of paying for quality because we can get
absolutely.
such cheap things. People are used to just getting cheap, and
Yep,
there's a difference.
yep.
So, Jay, I wish you lived close and we could have your friend do some epoxy stuff. Let me tell you what. We
Yeah,
wanted to do our kitchen counters like that. I think that would be so much fun. But the
yep.
girl was learning. She wanted me to pay her a couple $1,000s to learn on my kitchen cabinets. And I was like, "Well, I'll pay for the stuff, right? Because I feel like that's fair. But also you could totally mess up my kitchen cabinets.
Right.
So if you're gonna learn, how about, we call it a wash. We both get something out of it." So we did not
Right.
get it done.
No,
But
I
yeah.
just saw it up probably 1,000 board feet of kitchen counters for a guy for
Oh,
not
wow.
very far down the road. Yep, he's gonna do a bunch of live edge kitchen counters. He's gonna do a big J like or L, you
Yeah.
know, in his kitchen with a little island. It's gonna be really nice.
I don't know what that noise is. Um, I don't know if
I
it's
have
on.
noise.
Yeah, that little zzz noise. It comes and goes. I don't know. It's one of us, but it only lasts for a few seconds, and I don't know.
Is that
It
big
looks like
green?
I put that in there, but it wasn't me, so I don't know. Um, there's
It's
a
a little
lot of
animal.
that. Yeah, guys, I don't know what it is.
That's
It's technology is what it is. So for those of you who are new and they have joined, I'm Jen Hardy of the Jen Hardy Show. This is John Davidson of Davidson's All Natural Gym. We're doing a dual live stream because we could. And we're just kind of getting to know each other. He's telling my audience all about what he does at the sawmill because it's fascinating. And this is the kind of thing we've never talked about on my channel. And I think it's really cool, actually, to hear about and listen about. And if you have any questions for either one of us, or you want to know something, or share what you did today, I don't know, put it in the chat. And if you are, let's see, I don't know, if you are safe from weather, you can put that in the chat. We are safe. Did you guys you didn't have any of this come up to you, did you? Any rain or anything from the
we didn't
storm?
have from the first one. What was the first one? What was the first one's name?
Helene, I
Hurricane
think.
Helene. Yeah, we had some rain, and that was it. But Milo, no, we didn't do anything. We just
Yeah.
watched Milo. We just watched Milo on YouTube. That was
Yeah.
all we did.
With crazy people like me out there saying, here we are standing in the hurricane. But,
Yeah. Well, it's amazing, what one side of the Florida versus, the Tampa side is a totally different story. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I don't think if you were in Tampa, you would have stayed, or you shouldn't have.
No, absolutely not. We would
No,
not have stayed. But, we
right,
chose here for a reason because,
right.
what happened with that one, that's what happens every time that we've been here. That's what's happened. It could be a 4 or 5, and it's always a 1, or right before us, it'll become a tropical storm. In fact, there was one, my older kids were coming and they stayed with my younger children. We were supposed to get out for a couple days. So ironic, we stay at the Hilton in our town because it's where we like to stay. Because it's on the beach, right? We're 3 blocks from the beach. It's on the beach. But we like where we live. And so that's why we live here. And so there was a hurricane. It was Isaiah. It was coming. And we said, you know what? I think we're still going to go. It's only a level 1. And it was a tropical storm. And we went and stayed on a hotel at the beach with all the windows and everything. But it was just it was pretty intense though. But it's interesting because we're not technically in a flood zone. They didn't tell us to evacuate over this last one. Because people, I wanted to make sure that we told people, like, we're not breaking the rules or advocating breaking the rules. I don't want someone to get hurt because they think I told them
Right.
they should not listen. But do you guys have tornadoes up there?
We do have a lot of tornadoes. We're right at the top of Tornado Alley.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
yeah. So the tornadoes is a thing, but it's a lot different than a hurricane. There's no, 2 days. Let's get out of the way because we know it's coming. This is like if you have a couple minutes notification, you're lucky. You know, when you get in the basement. But
Yeah.
we had one come through right before my first daughter's wedding, and it was like 2 weeks before her wedding, and I had limbs everywhere all over the yard. I had fuel tanks spilled all over the yard. I had, you know, uh, shingles all over the yard. It was a real mess. But yeah, we made
But you
it.
got
We
it
got
done.
Yep, we
Oh,
got it
yeah.
done.
You do have basements and storm cellars. We have those in Tennessee. We
Absolutely.
can't have them here, but yeah,
In
that's
Florida,
awesome.
you dig a basement, you hit water, pretty much,
That's
don't
exactly right.
you?
Yeah. So there's nothing down there. But
No.
especially where we're at. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Dave, I hear that, but it comes and goes. Do you hear it constantly? Okay, if you're listening, do you hear or if you're watching, do you hear the staticky thing? Is it constant or is it come and go? I don't know. Mine just it
Well,
comes and goes, and I'm just taking it as being tech, and sometimes that happens. But do
well,
you
maybe
hear it?
it's my mic. I don't hear it, so it must be my
Okay.
mic, huh? Let me see if I
I don't
can find the settings. What's my audio say?
I don't know.
Echo
All right, guys, you
cancellation?
guys have to have some kind of question or something to ask.
There we
What
go.
would what do you want to know about living in the country? I think it's so cool. I mean, we live in totally opposite kind of areas, and yeah, I find
Oh,
it fascinating.
try that.
So has YouTube has it helped your business having a YouTube channel?
Um, no, but it's helped. Not really, but it's helped me. And um, let's see. I've had people say, uh, "If you saw this, tree up for me," and I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I can have it done, whatever, in a week." And they say, "Well, um, you can wait a few more days if, or I can wait a few more days if you'll post it on YouTube and record it." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Well, this tree was planted by my grandma or my great grandma or grandpa. You know what I mean? And now I'm going to turn it into a coffee table or whatever he's going to turn it into." And so I can videotape the sawmilling of that log, and now it can be part of the family history, you know what I mean, of that log. So it kind of makes me feel good. You know what I mean? I don't know that it's generated tons of business, but it's done me some good because it makes you feel good when people, you can become part of that history.
Yeah, that is
Um,
incredible.
yeah. So
That is really
the,
cool.
the other guy was doing the sawmill in a little small town not far from here. I stopped by and recorded some of his sawmilling, and I recorded the very last log that went through his sawmill before he shut it down. And did that help my business? No, but I know that guy. You know what I mean? And he has uh, a hard copy of that video
Yeah.
file that I recorded for him. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and that's
if anybody,
beautiful.
yeah. So it helps me if it does, even if it doesn't help the business.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, and I think, I feel like if you're on here and you're doing what you wanna do and the things that make you happy, that's really what we're supposed to be doing, right? And, I
Yep,
mean, you can do the
absolutely.
Mr. Beast kind of things and try to hit all that stuff, but at the end of the day, if you're going to bed, laying your head down your pillow saying, "I did something really cool with my video today and made someone's life better," to me, that's
Yeah,
what it's supposed to be all about, which is, I don't know, it's just personal thing.
we
My computer is throwing things everywhere.
we
What you
get
drink?
together and go live like the third Saturday of the month. We go live, and I go live with like 5 or 6 other sawyers from all over the country, and they're like, "Does us going live, does that help your channel any? Have you gotten any subscribe?" And I'm like, "No, but it sure helps me." I said it was fun, talking
Yeah.
to you guys, talking to these people, and that's more about what it's about to me than the money or the business or the any of that on YouTube. I know I'm not going to make millions of dollars on YouTube. I'm not good looking enough.
I think that sound is me because when it comes on, when I mute my mic, it stops. So guys, that's funny. There we go.
Do you have
Sorry.
the trucks and all things, or do you personally limited in sawmill? Is that cool? I mean, the whole operation. So, I don't have the lumber trucks that you see rolling down the road, the big semis. I don't have those stopped. Rusted Old Iron, the guy who was just on there, he did bring me a large trailer load of cedar logs. Looked like a semi. And he brought that from Missouri and trucked it in here and dropped it off. And we sawed up a bunch of cedar logs. But it's mostly I don't buy any logs. It's mostly from farmers who are clearing out some land to farm, or it's from the hunter down the road and he's got a dead tree and he knows I have a sawmill and he's like, if you cut that down for me, I'll give it to you. So it's more of a personal, but you still got to have a couple tractors and a couple trailers and a truck and the sawmill and the chainsaws and stuff like that. But it's also a business because I got thousands of board feet of walnut in there and high dollar white oak and high dollar cherry, and I sell a lot of that stuff right out of my barn to woodworkers. So a personal business, but no logging trucks.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
What am I drinking?
Yeah, Dave wants to know.
Mostly water. Mostly water.
That's funny. Yeah. All right, guys. Okay, so let's ask the question. What are you drinking? If you're watching, I've got boba tea here. Dave has got, I don't know what Dave's got. John's got mostly water. If you got something that's mostly water, what you got going on? Let's see. We can just get everybody to. Oh, here we go. Dave. Okay, I got to tell you this story. It goes with the deer meat. So when Dave and I met, I had 4 children. He had 1, and we had chickens and we did the whole thing back then. But we didn't do a lot of hunting at the time. And so Dave went out and got deer meat somewhere. One of his friends and he made chili. And he didn't tell the kids what was in it. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best chili." And he waited till after they ate it and then he told them. And then they were very angry and didn't want to do that anymore. So yeah, is that something? Because I saw the deer, like you do. Oh, and you guys, he does live stream, puts a camera out there so you can see the deer and everything. And I find it very interesting. So you can see all the animals walking around.
Yeah, there's some big deer. There's some big deer right around here. Real close. There's a 14 pointer out there this year.
Oh wow.
There's a lot of 11, a lot of 10 and 11 pointers, and it's not the Florida deer. These are big. These are big deer. And I don't have any extra meat because we ate it all. And I don't really. I shouldn't say I hunt, but I always get a couple deer a year. But I don't. I enjoy filming the big trophy buck, but I don't want him. I don't want to eat him. I want to eat his little brother because he's way more tender.
Yeah.
Not the Florida deer. Yep, it's not the Florida deer. It's not the Florida deer, and it's not the New York deer either. I have some relatives in New York too, and they're like, "Oh yeah, these deer are great. This huge deer." I was like, "Yeah, we wouldn't even shoot that deer. If I saw a Florida deer walking by, we would not shoot it. It's too small. It's way too small." Two Brothers Outdoors. There's one of the guys I go live with. Yep, from the Adirondacks. They're always talking about big deer, and they don't have any big deer. They think they do. You're still muted, Jen.
Okay.
My mic.
Sorry,
you
it's me. So we had pigs, we had chickens, we ate them, we did all the things. So we were used to doing that. It was no big deal, whatever. And right before I left LA, because I moved from Chicago to LA, we lived there for 30 years and then we moved to Tennessee. And as we were leaving LA, there was this big deal where a deer got on the Gate Bridge. Now, what would you do? You would get it off the Golden Gate Bridge, right? No, they shut down the bridge so they could safely evacuate the deer. So this is a thing. It's happening. It's stopping. It's stopping all kinds of traffic. I mean, it's just crazy, causing all kinds of problems. All right, Dave's telling me that he thinks I can fix this problem, and so then I get to Tennessee, of course, and people are just shooting them, everywhere, and it's
know.
just the funniest thing how different people in different parts of the country and the world have totally different ideas on you know food and friends.
Yeah, it's the deer is definitely food. It's definitely a couple of those, at least a couple in the freezer every year, and
Yeah,
it helps on the grocery bill for sure.
there we go. All right, hold on
I
one
was
second. Let's see if this is.
I was just in Michigan yesterday, day before. Saw, oh man, we must have saw 5 or 6 deer on the side of the highway. They weren't moving. They were
Yeah.
dead, but so there's a lot of deer in Michigan. We were just in
The last
southern
time I was in
Michigan.
Chicago, which was a long time ago, my cousins had found a deer on the side of the road, and then apparently you put your name in, and whoever has their name in first gets to come claim the deer. I don't know. I'm thinking I didn't really want to be able to do that, but what? I turned it off.
No, a lot of times when it gets hit by the car, um, when it gets hit by the car, a lot of that meat is no good anymore. It just turns to
See, that's
mush
what I
and
was thinking.
blood,
Plus,
and
what if it
yeah,
was sick or whatever? I don't
ruin
know. We don't know what
ruin the
happened.
whole.
I don't like this. Can
Yeah.
you stop? I know, but I turned off the fan. I think you were right. We're
Yeah,
gonna
the
have to.
only the only reason we take a deer off the side of the road is if you want its antlers or something.
Oh, yeah, there's that. I don't know. Or if you just really want, yeah.
PETA. PETA does not stand for people eating feasting animals. I can guarantee you that. They would not be happy.
It would not be no, no.
No.
That's a whole discussion for probably not here. Um,
Yeah, that's a whole different world.
yes, it is. And I get people wanna take care of animals, and it's good to take care of animals. Um, we'll just leave it
Yeah,
at
there's just
that.
ways. Yeah, there you go. There's just certain ways to go about it and other ways to go about it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So, all right, so I've turned off my ceiling fan, guys, and maybe that was it. I don't know. Dave wanted to start moving things, and we're not doing that while I'm live, so I apologize. I think it is coming from here, so, you know. Yeah, it's me. Oh, hold on, guys. All right, John, take it away. Entertain everyone for just a minute while I fix this thing here. I think I got it.
Me entertain somebody. Oh, that's
Tell us
rough.
the story of your life.
Story of your life. You, I'll tell you. Let's see. When I started sawmilling, you were in high school, and you're just working at the tail end of the sawmill, grabbing boards off there, and it's not very much fun. But even then, you know that there's some beautiful lumber coming off there, and you enjoyed seeing the lumber coming off there. And then I moved to town and sawed there for 5 years with a guy, but he was actually letting me run the mill and teaching me, you know what I mean, how to do it. So that was a lot better. Oh, tell him about Sasquatch. I could tell him about Sasquatch. I found Sasquatch.
You did?
Yep, I found Sasquatch. He was
Okay.
I was in the Adirondack Mountains, and I was cutting wood for the family fireplace, and we cut down a huge maple tree, and it had a great big burl on it. You know what a burl is? That big
Yeah,
oblong.
like a
Yeah,
knot kinda thing?
Right. Well, this one was huge, and so we're in New York. So I took it, ran it right down there to Two Brothers Outdoors channel, and they put it on their sawmill and sawing it up into 2-inch slabs. And one of their viewers, when we held up those slabs, each slab coming off the mill, we held it up, and one of their viewers says, "Did you guys realize there's Sasquatch right there in that burrow?" And sure enough, there's a you can't. It's not like somebody's making it up. You know what I mean? It's not a stretch of your imagination. It's Sasquatch, bright and plain and bright as day, and there's no denying it. It's
That's so
definitely
cool.
a Sasquatch. Yep, it's his head. It's the top of his head, or the from chest up. Sasquatch in that burrow. I still have one piece left.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dad, did you save it? And yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to save the last piece right now. It started falling apart on me for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, that's not good.
Yep. Nope.
Wow.
I'm up in
Is this? Is that?
the truck.
Are we talking about deer? I think
Not
we're talking about deer. That's a lot of deer.
Yep.
Wow. All right. We have less than 10 minutes, everybody. So is there any questions that you want to ask or anything that's going on? Or it feels really good to be here not talking about a storm. I'll tell you that right now. What advice would you give someone if someone would like to start something like a small farm or something? Is there a way to do that anymore? You know?
A small farm. I don't know how you'd start a small farm. I know how you'd start a sawmill. You want to start a sawmilling business? I can tell you how to do that.
Okay.
Go to the Wood Miser page and look for the closest sawmill to you. They list them by state, and go right over there and find the one that'll do a demonstration for you, and just spend a week with that guy sawing lumber, and you'll know real quick whether you want to do this or not. If you can see the grain in the wood and it's beautiful to you, and you'll fall in love with it, or you won't. If you don't fall in love with it, go find something else to do, because it's not a lot of money in it. It's more about, you have to love it. Like, I suppose it's kind of like YouTube. Not a whole lot of money in it. You gotta love it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking up stats today, and yeah, most people don't get monetized or don't whatever. And even if you do get monetized, it's a couple $100s a month. I mean, for a lot of
Yeah.
people, it's not. You're not living
Nope.
on it for sure.
Nope. I'm not even
So,
making that. So not even close.
yeah. So. All right, guys. Well, it has been really fun. I appreciate you coming on. This is I really do find it fascinating. And it makes me really want to, go spend some time in nature, because it has definitely it's been a long time. I mean, we've got nature. We've got beach. It's just different, you know?
Florida's
Just
a lot
different.
different. Florida's a lot different nature. It's been a few years down there. But
And
I don't
good
know.
hard work. My kids need some good hard work. Let me tell you what. I need to send my son. There you go. You can have summer camp for boys. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Whoop 'em in
So
shape. Oh my
a guy down the road actually thought about that. Some camp for boys, and just have them raising the goats and the chickens, and doing
Yeah.
chores and scooping poop, and doing all that for the weekend or a week or whatever. Put it
Yeah.
together, but that would be good.
Yeah, definitely go subscribe to his channel. It's awesome. Let me tell you what, on the weekends I didn't get to watch cartoons or anything like that. I was shoveling horse poop. That's what I was doing. From the time that I was 6. It's what you did, right? Because it's part of the family thing. So do you have children that are going to take over one day, or what's happening with that?
I hope so. I have a son who I hope's going to continue the farm someday. He's in the military right now. He's in the Air Force
Oh,
in
very cool.
Italy right now. But I hope he comes back someday and takes over the farm. He's going to inherit it whether he wants to or not. But so I hope he continues it and takes it over.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, I love Steve Bennett's thing. I want to know how to have a $5 million small farm start out with $10 million.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't you can't buy a combine and a planter and a farm anymore. The combine's $1 million, and so's the planter, and those tractors are 800,000 to $1 million. And if you've only got, even if you've got 200 acres, you can't pay off $3 million worth of equipment with 200
Yeah.
acres. You know, so you gotta rent it out to one of the bigger guys who's farming thousands of acres. You know, I just talked to the guy who's going to help me with this fence today, and he says, "Well, I just finished 2,000 acres of beans. Now he has to do 2,000 acres of corn. So he farms 4,000. That's a lot of farming just to pay for your equipment. To make
Yeah,
a living."
absolutely. Yeah, the deer cams are they are
Hopefully
so
the
cool.
comes. Yeah.
And you know what I like? You know what I like
Thanks.
about your channel is that you're you. You know, you are you are you. You're just telling people like it is. You guys, it's really funny. You got to watch the short he does about why people really watch the channel because it's fun. It's funny. You're gonna laugh, especially at the part at the end. Did not expect it. It was good. So yeah, you definitely want to do that.
Thanks.
And they have live. Yeah, he goes live with his friends. Some of the guys that are here in the chat today, they all go live, and it's honestly it's very fascinating talking about what's happening out there because we rely on people that have farms for food for our sustenance. We forget food does not is not naturally made in little plastic packages. And when people are talking about, there's certain trees and they're not going to be there anymore in 10 years and all that kind of stuff, where you learn stuff like that on there. And I think it's good for us to know what's happening. So anyway, you are welcome,
Yeah.
Jay. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I think,
Did
it's really
did
cool.
did you guys see the Northern Lights down there in Florida or
No,
not?
we don't have it
No,
down here.
didn't.
Did you see
Okay.
him?
Yeah, just the other night they were out. I just put two shorts on there. He was saying about those shorts, about the Northern Lights. They were pretty amazing. Yep.
Very
So
cool. I did a
that was
thing
very
on
cool.
what are they because I honestly didn't know what caused it, and I thought it was fascinating. So I put a little video about what they
Yep,
are.
I watched that.
Um,
I
so
watched that. That's why I thought maybe you had them down there because
yeah,
I just
no,
watched
we
your
don't
short
have
about
them.
that.
So that was my way of jumping on the Northern Lights are popular on YouTube thing. 'Cause I'm like,
Yep.
what can I contribute? So, but I didn't know, and the reason we don't have them is because it's magnetized something from the sun, and that it is attracted to the poles. And
Right.
I don't know. I like to learn. I'm like Cliff Clavin over here. I like lots of useless information. So, and then I like to share it with people. But watch his because he's got the real Northern Lights. So, what kind of colors do you guys have up there?
These were, I don't know, like a pink, purplish, and with little bits of green in it. So it was
Very
cool.
cool.
It was cool.
Yeah, and yeah, because there's different ones, I guess, in the southern hemisphere, and they're different colors, and
Yeah,
it's a
when you
whole
go to Canada, it's almost all green, all solid
really.
green. Yep, all solid green up there. Probably northern Michigan's probably solid green up that high too.
My son is in Wisconsin. I didn't even think about asking him. I bet he saw them too. Then
Yep, they
I'll
were
have to
they
check.
were really really prominent a couple nights ago. Really prominent.
That is so cool. Awesome. Well, it is 10 o'clock, you guys, and I want to say
Yeah.
thank you. And thank you, John, for joining us. And thank you, all of John's friends, for joining us too. I've enjoyed watching you all on your lives and getting to know who you are. And you guys are amazing. So thank you for staying with us. And yeah, we had 143 chats. That is really cool. So thank you
Nice,
a lot.
nice.
So,
Thanks for having
same
me. It
thank
was
you,
a lot of
applause.
fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was awesome. All right. Well, we'll definitely have